Knowing how to find the greatest common factor is a skill that is sometimes helpful when doing fractions. And so first, we're going to talk about a reminder of what factors are. Factors are two numbers that you can multiply together to get a certain product. So in this case, 6 times 4 equals 24. 6 and 4 are factors of 24. Another way to think about factors is 6 is a factor of the dividend, 24, because 6 divides into 24 4 times evenly with no remainder. And again, since 6 times 4 equals 24, again, 4 would also be a factor. And another way to check that is 4 divides into 24 6 times evenly. We call that evenly with no remainder. So that's a quick review of what factors are. Now, to find the greatest common factor, when we do this, we're dealing with two numbers. So for instance, if I have the two numbers 16 and 24, what we're going to do here is we're going to make a list of factors for each number. And then we'll compare the two lists and we will find the greatest number, the greatest factor that both of these numbers, 16 and 24, have in common. I have a technique to do that, and this is how I taught this in class. You start with one number at a time, and we're going to determine the factors first. And so I have the students think about multiplication. Obviously, you can make 16 by multiplying 1 times 16. So I have the students write those two factors down. What I do is the 1 goes here, and the 16 will go somewhere over here. This will help to make the list as we go through the counting numbers, and that's exactly what I have the students do. I have them go through the counting numbers. We started with 1, the next counting number would be 2. Does 2 times any other number equal 16? The answer is yes, 2 times 8. And so we list those two numbers. We put the 2 here, and 2 times 8 over here equals 16. Then I ask the students to go to the next counting number, 3. Does 3 times any number give you 16? And the answer would be no. So you skip over 3. The next counting number would be 4. Does 4 times any number give you 16? The answer is yes, 4 times 4. But the students only need to write the 4 down one time. And that's kind of a signal that we're finished. We don't have to go any farther since we're multiplying the same number by itself. But if a student gets stuck on that and they're not sure if they should stop or not, you just continue through the counting numbers until you get to 8. So for example, the next counting number would be 5. Does 5 times any number equal 16? The answer is no. Does 6 times any number equal 16? The answer is no. 7 times any number? Again, the answer is no. And then you would get to 8. Does 8 times any number equal 16? And the students will say yes. But we already have 8 and 2 listed, 8 times 2. And so that is a signal that we can stop factoring the number 16. I then have the students go to the next number. And again, you start with 1, and 1 times 24 equals 24. So you write the 1 here, and the 24 here. And then we just continue through the counting numbers. Does 2 times any number equal 24? The answer is yes, 2 times 12. So we put the 2 here, and we put the 12 here. Now let's say a student had trouble remembering that 2 times 12 equals 24. If it's a problem where you could do some long division, they would simply, on a piece of scratch paper, write down 2 divided into 24, and they would figure out if it is a factor or not. The way that they would figure it out is they would divide. 2 goes into 2 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract. We have 0. 0 is less than 2, so we're okay. Bring down the next number. 2 divides into 4 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract. And we have a remainder of 0. 2 does divide into 24 evenly with no remainder. And so 2 is a factor of 24 12 times, which also gets written down over here. So 2 times 12 equals 24. Again, back to the process. So we're at 2, we go to the next counting number, 3. Does 3 times any number equal 24? The answer is yes, 3 times 8. So we put the 3 here and the 8 here, okay? Then we go to the next counting number. Does 4 times any number equal 24? The answer is yes, 4 times 6. So we put the 4 here, and we can put the 6 here. The only number left in the middle here is 5. Does 5 times any number equal 24? The answer is no. Does 6 times any number equal 24? The answer is yes, 6 times 4, but we already have those factors written down. We are finished factoring the number 24. The final step to find the greatest common factor is to look at your two lists and find the greatest number, the largest number, that both lists have in common. And as you look through the lists, the largest or greatest number that they both have in common is 8. And I usually have the students circle that number, and then for their final answer, they will put GCF, which means greatest common factor, equals 8.